Hi, good afternoon, guys. Thank you for being here. My name is Lee Painter, and I'm here to present my talk, Lighting the Way. Currently work at BDP. I've been in the lighting design industry, lighting designer, about 6 years now, mostly working on very high-end and luxury projects. And the talks I'm giving today is really inspired by a project I worked on earlier this year, which really is at the opposite end of the scale. So I'd like to jump straight in and talk about plastic in design. And I'm sure you agree it's an incredible material, and since its inception it really has revolutionized the way we live. And I'm sure there isn't a day gone by that you or I haven't interacted with plastic. We have a lot to thank plastic for. It is truly a remarkable material and is extremely resilient and versatile. And as modern lighting designers and manufacturers, it is fundamental to the products that we create and specify. And following on from these points, I would really like to take you through a few facts which I think are important to set the tone of what I'm talking about. So, 300 million tons of plastic is newly created every year. And actually recently researched a sort of equivalent weight to this, and I just searched 300 million tons, and up came apparently the population of the planet of humans, about 8 billion of us, actually weighs around 300 million tons, so that's how much we're creating of plastic every year. 8 to 10% of our oil supply, limited oil supply, goes into making this plastic. 50% of this is only for single use. Only 20% of this gets recycled. 25% gets incinerated, and sadly, the remaining... Oh, sorry. Forgot to click. Sadly, the remaining 55% either ends up in landfill or, sadly, in the oceans, as I'm sure you keep hearing. So it's clear that this material has created a problem as big, and if not bigger, than all the challenges that it has solved. And it definitely holds a negative mindset for a lot of people. But the thing is, it is just doing what we designed it to do. It is being durable and resilient. So it isn't really plastic that is the problem. It is our management of it. So we have to take responsibility for this. And we can take responsibility in many forms to make positive change. We can determine the range of lighting products and features available by the demand we create. We can give back by being conscious of the use of plastic during the design process. And please don't get the idea that I'm perfect. I'm on this journey too, and I'm learning every day. And I'm aware of how helpless the climate change and pollution problem can make you feel, and I'd feel it too. So this is what led me to volunteer and build the lighting for a Bottle House project at Clerkenwell Design Week back in May. Here you can see Ricky Sandhu on the right here, who created this and designed and built this through his studio Small in a collaboration with WSP. And Bottle House uses recyclable materials to provide temporary off-grid shelter for real-world applications, which also at the same time raises awareness of sustainability and human displacement. And before the Bottle House exhibition at Clerkenwell Design Week, Ricky approached BDP and asked who would get on board. And this is how I was involved. And I was like, this is great, this is amazing. I've always wanted the opportunity to work on a project that is looking to give back and create positive change and raise awareness. Obviously, so after saying yes, I had to actually get on and start delivering this. So it's off-grid, so how do we power it? Or solar panel. So Ricky dumped these two solar kits on me, and he's like, there you go off and make the lighting work for this. So, and these solar kits, they came back to my parents, they ended up on the roof at the office at BDP, they came with me to Nottingham to see my friends, back at my flat, because I was connected to them for like 2 weeks. I had to just test how long it was going to take to charge, how long they're discharged, because I really had to know on the day, how long is this going to last? Is it going to run out? Because the instructions weren't that clear. So after all that, I got onto the real fun part, which is just working out what we're going to do. So I was like, great. My big idea was let's use old lighting samples that would otherwise be discarded in the trash. And I was like, yeah, LEDs, tape's a bit glary. What else? I was like, oh, milk bottles, they're opaque. That's a natural diffuser, and it will house linear tape. So here's my first mock-up with just a piece of LED stuck in a bottle, pretty much doing what you'd expect it to do. But obviously, I had to prove this to Ricky and show him what I was doing, getting up to. But sadly, and however, due to compatibility and compatibility complications, and with time low and resources small because it's voluntary outside of work hours, I couldn't get the LED and the solar kit to work because they're different voltages. And although I'm very hands-on, I love building and fixing stuff, I'm not an electrician at the end of the day. So I had to revert back to the LED lamps that the kit came with. And amazingly, the E27 bases happened to perfectly fit through the heads, the tops of the bottles I wanted to use it. I was like, what a brilliant coincidence that is. That's worked out great. And so on the right here, you can just see I've just created a simple pendant out of a milk bottle, which obviously is really opposite to an Italian pendant I'll be specifying. So I've never really been involved at this end of the scale. And I really wanted to keep the design simple, as this was the very first time the lighting had been involved in Bottle House, and this was a seed. So this was to build on it in the future and develop this and see where this is going to go. So with testing complete, which obviously involved me turning this on to check it worked, which we'll get to that later. Onto the installation day, which was on a Sunday. This photo on the left here just shows where the rechargeable battery kits were hidden. This is just under a tyre with a glass top that Ricky had made himself, and then the cables just run along the floor, up the bamboo structure, and just tail off where we've got the pendants. Other than the solar panels, the kit isn't waterproof, so we had to completely rely on that table and the bottle house to stop it getting wet. Obviously, in a real-world solution that was applied, it would be a fully waterproof system. This is just a quick image of the solar panels installed, which is installed by myself, might I add, which is probably why they're a little wonky there. And here it is, the big turn-on. Got the two pendants sitting there, which created simple soft glow lanterns that create homely usable light, which is just quite a nice, delicate effect. And this is completely powered by the solar panels using the sun's energy. And this is the first time I've actually used solar power. And it really is a magical feeling to connect so directly with the sun. It's almost as if you've harnessed the sun right there in the bottle in front of you. And I can describe it as a similar feeling you get from growing and harvesting your own fruit and veg. So we had the pendants there. We're like, let's just do something else. This is an exhibition. We can have a bit more fun. We've got some space at the very top. As you see at the very point of the pyramid, not that much space. We're like, let's build something extra using the simple milk bottle pendants as a basis. So we're like, what can we do? So it's like, well, if we use 4 of the central ones, we can start clustering around this building out and make kind of like a cloud of light just out of opaque milk bottles to create a similar effect, more on the left as opposed to on the right. These are just mood images I sent to Ricky to give him an idea. So here's the 4 central ones hung at the top with the light sources in. Then I gradually just started building the milk bottles around it, and it was quite fiddly, just kind of ad-libbed it around there. But the effect you actually end up with at night is actually quite amazing. It really does look like a cloud of light. And this is what we ended up with. And for me, this really shows how even trash can be transformed into something beautiful, which for me really connects with the reason why we are lighting designers and why, as human beings, we love light. Light literally brings life. And it brings out the hidden beauty in anything, even a pile of old milk bottles, which is pretty much just trash. This is just a few cropped images here of the different lighting elements. And then the next image just shows how this all came together from the outside. And it's quite amazing when you look at this all that energy on every night, which is powered by the sun, with no direct power, and it didn't run out once. So I was very, very pleased with that. And even the where we placed the pendants actually tied in the whole language of the triangles at each point, so all completely tied in. And this is a photo at the end. This is Ricky on the left, the founder of Small, me in the middle, and Tim Gibbons on the right, who used to work at Foster & Partners with Ricky, and he has his own small studio now doing similar little projects. So I'd really now like to just step back from all the fun and just kind of really get into some of the points that really underpin the Bottle House project. Throughout the developing world, it is demonstrated that a child's literacy is dramatically improved through the increase of time to read. So light really does light up lives. And also introducing LED solar panels into the third world situations, it begins to remove the widespread and hazardous use of kerosene lamps. And as I'm sure you can tell, I am personally invested in Bottle House and the ethos which has made me think deeper about the issues surrounding it, such as personal circumstance. And I'm sure that anyone watching this presentation today lives in the first world. And it's important to realise that the majority of the world's designers focus all of their efforts on developing products and services exclusively for the richest 10% of the world's customers, which is us. And it really is quite staggering when you think about that, and I don't think many people realise. And being part of the 10%, we are of course very fortunate and have a lot to be grateful for, and that this good fortune comes with responsibility, and we have an opportunity the other 90% really do not have. So we have a responsibility to use our good fortune to increase and set the standard for sustainable and conscious design. With increased human activity, technology is being pushed forward at an exponential rate, with designers having to respond to ever-increasing challenges and increasing demands. And with first world projects at the forefront of modern design, the products we design and the choices we make eventually filter down to the other 90%. So this led me to think deeper about the lighting fixtures we, as designers, specify. I'd say the primary focus of luminaire design is lumen output, light quality, aesthetics, profitability. And genuine recyclability it's a secondary objective, or sometimes not an objective at all. However, there are some lighting manufacturers who are already focusing on recyclability as a selling point, which is positive news. However, there is an argument that we are now using a higher quantity of light fixtures in line with the evolution and understanding of lighting design. Design innovation has created a new waste stream as a byproduct. I mean, how many LED tape offcuts from site and old lighting samples go to the trash where they end up in landfill and are literally buried in the ground? If we all had to bury our own trash in our own gardens, it would immediately become apparent how crazy this really is. So there are positives, of course. LEDs have made a monumental impact in a short amount of space of time, requiring a lot less power than previous technologies. And along with tightening energy usage regulations, we really are heading in the right direction. Building on these achievements, I really hope that something like a recyclability rating eventually becomes a demand of all clients and of us as specifiers. And I hope eventually we will be asking for such a rating alongside lumen output, CRI, and cost, just to name a few. So the question really is, can we light the way? Can recyclability be made the design focus of products and projects? Can we collaborate to make this happen? So can we light the way to a better and more mindful future? Well, there's only one answer to that. So, thank you very much.